Good morning, Year 4. How are you? And welcome to today's maths lesson. We are going to be looking more about equivalent fractions today, and we're going to be using the number line to help us. But to start with, you have your daily fluency questions. Can you spend no longer than 4 minutes on these, please? So pause the video here and write your answers on your sheet of paper. Okay, how did you do? Let's find out. So, number 1, add these two numbers together. You could use the written addition method, the column addition, and find that you will have the answer of 5,744. Now, number 2, what fraction of the shape is shaded? Well, if we know we have 5 parts altogether, which are all equal, and 3 of them have been shaded, your fraction will be 3/5. 96 divided by 3 gives you the answer of 32, and to draw a shape with an area less than 7 squares you could have various answers as long as your area is either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 squares big. Okay, so let's have a look at today's lesson. Now today we are going to be finding the equivalent fractions again, but remind me, what does that word equivalent mean? That's right, equivalent means the same or equal. And we looked at money and things yesterday. We looked at 5 £1 coins was equivalent to a £5 note. 3 add 3 was equivalent to 5 add 1. And we looked at lots of different fractions yesterday. Now I am going to show you some number lines here. And the first number line I can see goes from 0 to 1. And it's split into 2 parts, so each part is worth 1/2. Now my next number line again is split into by 0 and 1, but this time it's split into 4 equal parts. So which means that the first part is going to be 1/4. The second line of my number line will show 2 parts, so 2/4. The third part of my number line shows 3 parts, so 3/4, and then 4 parts, which is 4/4, but the same as 1. Another number line I have split this time into 3 parts. The first part is 1/3, the second part 2/3, and the third part would be 3/3, but that is the same as 1. I have a final number line for you here, which this time is split into 9 parts. And you can see here how I've split it into 1/9, 2/9, all the way up to 9/9, which is the same as 1. Now, I have showed you 4 number lines there that have been split into different parts. Now, what do you notice about where the fractions lie on the number line? Can you find any equivalent fractions? Pause the video and have a think. Did you notice that 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4? Did you notice that 1/3 is equivalent to 3/9? And 2/3 is equivalent to 6/9? Did you notice that? Fantastic. So we are going to be using number lines in this way today to find out which fractions are equivalent. So I have got a bar here. My bar is split into 4 sections, which means I've split it into quarters. So each part is worth 1/4. Now I've also made a number line, and I've split my number line into quarters too. And I can show this on my number line because the first part is going to show 1/4, the second part 2/4, the third part 3/4, and the final part would be 4/4, but we know that's the same as 1. Now I can show my fractions on my number line, but today I want to know what fractions are equivalent to my quarters. So this time I'm going to split my bar into 8ths. And I can see here that all I did is I split each of my quarters in half to make 8 parts of my bar model this time. And now I can see that I have got 8ths, and 2 of these 8ths are the same as this quarter. It matches up, they are the same. If I had 2 more 8ths, which was 4 8ths, that would also be equivalent to 2/4. I could find the equivalent of 3/4, and how many eighths would be equivalent to 3/4? That's right, 6/8. And how many eighths would be equivalent to 4/4? That's right, 8/8. Now what I could also do is split my bar into 3 parts for each section. So I can have 3, 6, 9, 12 parts. Now, how many 12ths do you think would be equivalent to 1/4 by looking at this bar model? Let's have a look if you're right. So I can see that 3/12 is equivalent to 1/4. So how many 12ths will be equivalent to 2/4? Yes, 6/12 would be equivalent to 2/4. How many 12ths will be equivalent to 3/4? That's right, we can match it up and find that 9/12 will be equivalent to 3/4 and 12/12 will be equivalent to 4/4. There is one more way that we can split this number line and these bars. So what we could do is we could move our fractions up, and this time I want to split my bar into 16ths. How many sections will I need in each gap between each quarter if I'm splitting my bar into 16ths? That's right, I will need 4 parts between each of my quarters. So you can see I've got 4 parts here, 4 parts here, 4 parts here, and 4 parts here. Now we want to work out how many 16ths is equivalent to 1/4, and we can start counting them because we can see that here is 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16, and look, I've landed on my 1/4. So what is equivalent to 1/4? 4/16 are equivalent to 1/4. Can you work out how many 16ths are equivalent to 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4 just by looking at this number line? Pause the video and have a think. Did you get it right? Did you use your counting to find out how many 16ths is equivalent to each of my quarters? Well, we can continue counting and we can see that 2/4 is equivalent to 8/16 because 4/16, 5/16, 6/16, 7/16, 8/16. And then I could carry on counting. 4 more than 8 is 12. So my 3/4 is going to be equivalent to 12/16. And my 4/4 would be equivalent to 16/16. Now so far we have found equivalences between quarters, eighths and 12ths and 16ths. We can see that they are all equivalent by using this line here. I can see that 1/4 is equivalent to 2/8 using this model here. I can see that then 1/4 is also equivalent to 3/12 using this here, which is also equivalent to 4/16 using this number line here. Now, what do you notice about all of these fractions? And can you find any other fractions which are equivalent? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, perhaps you've noticed something between the relationship between these fractions, but that's going to be in our lesson on Thursday. So I will be teaching you some extra tips and tricks on Thursday. So for now, if you think you know, that's fantastic. Now, I would like you to pause the video here and have a go at questions 1 to 3 on the worksheet, please, using what you've learned so far about how we can use the number line to get equivalent fractions. Pause the video. Okay, so far you've been brilliant and we've been looking at the number line to help us find equivalence. So now we're going to keep doing this, and this time I'm going to split my number line into how many sections? I've split my number line into 5 sections. So what fraction is going to be here? That's right, it's going to be 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5 and 5/5, but that is the same as 1. Fantastic. Now, what I want to do is I want to know what fractions are equivalent to maybe 1/5. And I can do this because what I can do is I can split each of my parts into 2. And I'm going to do that across my whole number line. And how many parts have I split the bottom half of my number line into? 10. Fantastic. So then I can work out what each of my parts of my number line is equal to in terms of my fractions. And I can see that my first part is worth 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, and so on until I get to 9/10, because 10/10 would be 1. Can you find any equivalent fractions from this number line? Pause the video and have a think. Did you work out that 1/5 is equivalent to 2/10? Or perhaps you worked out that 4/5 was equivalent to 8/10. We're going to have a go at another part of a number line now. And again, I've split my number line into fifths. But this time I want to work out how many 15ths I'm going to have. So how many parts am I going to split each part into if I'm working 15ths? That's right, I'm going to split each part into 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I have made 15 parts. Can you work out what fractions are going to be equivalent to 1/5? What 15th is going to be equivalent? Pause the video and have a think. Did you get it right? Well, we can see here that 1/5 is equivalent to 3/15, and 3/5 is equivalent to 9/15. And also we can see that 4/5 and 2/5 are also equivalent. I've got a problem solving question for you now, and I wonder if you can help me work it out. So we're going to give you some facts and we're going to ask you to work out the answer. So 5/12 is halfway between circle and star. But we don't know where star is, so we need to draw an arrow to where star is on the number line. And then we need to work out, well, what fraction is represented by the star? Now, using this fraction, you will need to split this number line into 12ths. So then you can work out where 5/12 is and work out where the star is, knowing that 5/12 is halfway between the two shapes. Then, can you draw an arrow to the star and write what fraction it represents? Can you also have a go at thinking what fraction this one represents? Pause the video now and have a go if you can do this question on your page in front of you. Okay, how did you do? Did you work out that at the moment my number line has been split into 4 parts? So what will the fraction of my blue circle be? That's right, it will be 1/4. And I can see here I've marked 2/4 and 3/4. Now, if I have 4 parts and I need to split my number line into 12 parts, how many parts am I going to split each part into? That's right, I'm going to split each part into 3. So now I have made 12 parts. And I can work out where 5/12 is by counting 1, 2, 3, 4. 5/12 is there. So I know that's halfway between the circle and the star. So I know that between the quarter, the circle, and the 5/12 there are 1, 2/12. So that means my star must be 2/12 away from the 5/12. So 1/12, 2/12. So my star must be here. And then what fraction have I landed on? I can carry on counting, that is 6/12, 7/12. So that is the answer to my quiz. Now, I would like you to have a go at the rest of the questions on the worksheet, then come back to this video ready for the problem solving questions. Pause the video now, have a go. Okay, so your problem solving question today, there is just one, but that means you need to really explain your brain today. So Alex and Tommy are using number lines to explore equivalent fractions. And Alex has used 2 number lines here to show that 2/6 is equivalent to 1/3. Tommy has done the same, and he has worked out that 3/6 is equivalent to 1/3. One of these children are incorrect. Who is incorrect? And explain why. And remember, if you think Alex is incorrect, you need to say what she's done wrong and what she needs to do better. And if you think Tommy was incorrect, you need to say what he's done wrong and what he should have done better. Okay, so that is your challenge for today. Fantastic listening today, Year 4. I will see you in our next lesson. Goodbye.